Oh, UFOs. Well, of course. Let's see. Everybody can look this up. I did a project with Joshua P. Warren. He was living in Puerto Rico at the time. It was called the Arecibo Project. You can look this up. I think that's the name of the actual website, the Arecibo Project or Arecibo Project. Or you can go to Joshua P. Warren's website and you'll find a link for it. Okay. All right. Uh, what it was back in the early 70s, early mid 70s, the radio telescope out of Ohio had picked up what they call the wow signal. And basically, it wasn't an audio signal, it was just a zeros and ones. It was just a computer representation of a signal that the radio telescope picked up. And it had a certain frequency to it, by the way. I don't remember what the hertz was. I think it's like around 432 was the hertz signal or something along that line, the frequency. Anyway, what they wanted to do was they wanted to, in celebration of the wow signal, it's just one of those things, where Joshua was trying to, want to do something, and he got George Nori involved in this from coast to
Oh
coast.
wow! Wow.
And he read he read like a welcome to the to whoever might be hearing this broadcast, and good luck to Josh with his project, something along that line, and so that fateful day, he sets up this camera at a location, and he gave me the longitude and the latitude. And I was one of three people in the entire world that knew where that camera was located at. All right, it was Joshua, Mobius, the tech guy, and myself. We were the only three people who knew where the location was. All right, my job was to try to create or have him photograph a UFO at that location. Tune the machine for it. What I had to work with was the wow signal. I think I took like a frequency on like a MP3 or it was a CD or something. I think it was a CD. I think that's what I used. It's either a thumb drive or a CD. I had that signal on it, and along with my intent and the location of where we had the camera. Okay, so I tuned it for that day, also for that day, and see what happens. Okay, well the day comes. He has the camera pointed at that location. All right, 3 hour 3 hours pass, nothing. 4 hours pass, nothing. 5 hours pass, again, nothing. All right, sixth hour, I think it was. It was sixth or seventh hour. Finally, here's what happens. You see an acorn-shaped UFO drop out of the clouds. It's in full view of the camera. All right, and then it goes back up into the clouds. Now, the rest of the story. At that very same time, a signal, audio artifact was on that feed, was picked up by that camera or by the equipment that Joshua was using, at that location. And that signal, I think, was like within a couple of hertz or a couple of, just a couple of hertz of the original wow signal. And you can find that. It's on there. And I thought, oh, no way. This is just too damn good to be true. And again, Mobius, he's a tech guy, straight up dude. The man knows his stuff. I said, Mobius, what the hell's going on here, man? This is, he said, how does, okay, let's say this is real. We picked up a UFO. Okay, we got something that dropped out of the clouds and picked it up on camera. Okay, so, okay, we got that. Now that signal, what the hell happened here, man? And he said, well, I don't know. I can't explain it. It said the cables are shielded. The way things were set up, you had like maybe a microphone. I don't even think the microphone was even hooked up to the feed that was going through Mobius out of North Carolina. It said it's impossible for anybody to try to hack this or try to create some kind of a false or be able to fake this footage. It said it was impossible.
Holy
Said,
shit.
yeah, exactly. And I said, wow. But that again, that was the first time I ever worked with UFOs. Before that, he had a deal with. They were going to where the heck was it? It was Romania, I believe. They wanted to see Vlad the Impaler. They were going.
Wow.
They were going to his castle, right? He had like a couple of castles. This one was like a mountain. You had to go up like 1,000 steps in order to get to the castle. There's things like ancient ruins. Yeah.
That's a badass.
Yeah, some badass stuff, right? Had a bunch of ghost investigators there, paranormal investigators, and he said, "Hey, can you do anything to try to boost paranormal activity at this location?" This is the first time I ever worked on anything that was paranormal. And I said, oh, okay, Josh, let's see what the heck we can do here. I said, do you have something for me to work with? Do you have a floor plan of the castle, for example, you could send me? He said, sure. I got the floor plan, and and basically it's just like showing the outer walls, the rooms, the rooms of the castle, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so I got that, and I made like a grid pattern. I just took a pencil and a ruler, and I just made like a grid pattern on the thing. And what I would do, I would take a stick plate, and I set up a machine for paranormal activity. Where most likely would there be paranormal activity? And so what I do, I take the end of that pencil and I would point it in the middle of each one of those squares on that grid, okay? And I would rub a plate. If I got a yes, I would put a check mark in that square. If I got a no, I would go to the next one, leave it blank. Okay, going through, going through, going through. All right, where I picked up the most check marks was in the courtroom, or where at the meeting room, the meeting hall. It's like a
Yeah.
major the castle. I picked up a lot of what appeared to be a lot of paranormal activity was concentrated in that part of the castle. Okay. Well, here again, the rest of the story. They get to Romania. All right, and one of the people there, she was a eyewitness to this, was a woman by the name of Shelley, and she was part of Joshua's paranormal team. Been with him from the very beginning, and she was a red-haired female. And anyway, she was there, and she was also with one of her friends, one of her closest friends. So they go up to the stairs to the top of the mountain. They go inside the castle. They start walking around, trying to see if they can find anything strange, see if they can find any little ghosties or whatever. They finally get in the courtroom, and they're just looking around, minding their own business. And all of a sudden, little pebbles were being thrown at them. They'd be hit by pebbles out of nowhere. They were being thrown at the women, especially the women. The men weren't bothered, but especially Shelley was getting pelted these little pebbles, and she was looking around, who the hell's doing this? And they're looking around the ruins. I mean, it's very open. You said there was nowhere really to hide, so they were like going through by the walls or whatever, and nothing would happen. They go one end of the room and they get pelted from the back. They go to another end of the room, they get pelted from the back. It's like this person's
Wow.
is moving around. And so I think she even has one of the pebbles as a souvenir. As a souvenir. But the point of it is, paranormal activity by using radionics. Whether or not I activated it or helped activate it, I don't think I did. All I did was just try to find out where it was at, and I was able to use radionics as with a floor plan, or you can even use this with a map in order to find a certain thing, or to, in this case, to help
Amplify
the paranormal activity, the experience. Now here's a little side note. You know what I asked her for? I said, hey, when you get up there to Dracula, or get to Transylvania, or to Dracula's castle, whatever, I said, bring me back a rock.
No.
Swear to God.
No way.
Swear to God, my hand to God. And I said, just bring back a rock. So, this is kind of, you don't want to get some souvenir or some, you want like the real thing, like something that, hey, who knows, maybe the lad might have stepped over it or something, or killed some guy on top of it. You never can tell. You never can tell.
Wow.
But a little piece of the castle. And so that's what I asked her for. And that's sort of my experience with using radionics in the paranormal.
Trying to increase it. Yeah, I was asked to go on an investigation this last October, and then I was like thinking about using the box and all that, but it's with people who they were not experienced in any means, so it would be like, you know what I mean? There's like when you do an experience with other people who are going on versus someone that would rather be on TV to be, hey everyone, it's always a demon instead of it being like a negative entity, all that other stuff,
Oh, I'm gonna tell you, you're close enough to do this. It'd probably be a day trip for you. You're in Fort Wayne, if memory serves, or you're in like the Indiana.
Yep.
Okay. All right. There's a place called Elizabethtown, Kentucky. All right, it's about 65 miles south of Louisville, Kentucky. All right, you'll see. I think it's right off of I-65, I think it's 65. If memory serves, you'll look it up. 64 or 65, one or the other. Anyway, it's 65 miles south of Louisville, Kentucky. You can Google this. It's
Yep.
called Hell's Gate Cemetery. Hell's Gate Cemetery.
Oh God.
Oh yeah. I'm going to tell you a story about Hell's Gate Cemetery. Since we're talking about ghosts, what the hell? All right, all right. But, again, this is one of those things where, I probably could have been smarter about this, but it's just the way it worked out. Um, I've been to what do they call it? Weatherly Heights. Is that it? It's like that haunted location out of Louisville, Kentucky.
I,
It's like for tuberculosis. It was a TB hospital back in the 40s or whatever. It's supposed to be like one of the most haunted. It was supposed to be like one of the most haunted spots in the U.S.
mhm,
Supposedly, right?
yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you, this cemetery in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, kicks its ass. If you do not go there by yourself, do not go there by yourself. I'm going to give you an example of what happened.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy.
This is a true story. I couldn't believe it either. And people can say, what the hell does it have to do with radionics? Well, the night I was there, I had two machines. One was for personal protection for yours truly, because I didn't want some little funky thing crawling up in me and following me home or going with me.
Yeah.
I was a little okay. So, and the second thing was to try to have paranormal activity, so it's gonna be a good show because the premise of this was that we're going to try to film this or try to record this in real time for the host of this online show. And but when you get up there, that weather is kind of strange where you're at, and you might get one bar, you might get two bars. I mean, and it starts shifting. You have to move around a little bit to try to get a good signal on your cell phone. So, audio is probably pretty much the best you could do. Well, here's what happened. My personal experience of this, without going through a lot of the minutia, there was a priest, and he's real famous in Louisville. Matter of fact, I think he's one of the top exorcists in the country. He's a Catholic priest. I think he's a bishop, not for the Roman Catholic Church, but I think he left the Roman Catholic Church and went into, I think it's like the New American or the Old American Catholic Church or something along that line. Anyway, this guy is famous. He's been on TV, Ghost Hunter, and all the shows. He's there with me, and so he and I we walked toward the back of the cemetery. And as you walk toward the back, it's like a small little family cemetery. It's not that big, and maybe 50 by 100 feet. We could walk about 50 feet toward the back of the cemetery, and one thing you'll notice is the temperature dropped almost 10 degrees. And this is level land. It's level land, and it's almost 10 degrees. You could notice it. Okay, so get toward the back of this thing, and he had another guy there who's like into Bigfoot or what have you. The guy was out of Colorado. I forgot his name, but he was there also.
Mhm.
And anyway, he was there as a witness to this, and so the priest, he has this little ghost box. I think it was called the obelisk. Is what this particular version. I think it's off his cell phone. It's like a program on his cell phone or something. I don't know what exactly he had. He called it the obelisk. All right. So he starts saying, "Is there any messages? Is there anybody here? Or do you have any messages for us or whatever?" And then the first thing I hear was, "Run, go, leave." That was the first message he got. Run, go, leave. And apparently that didn't register with the priest because he goes, "Is there anybody there who can give us?" And I'm thinking to myself, "You son of a gun!" He did what? I don't know how much of a warning this is when it tells you to run, go, leave. I think it's pretty much self-explanatory, but I digress. So he goes into this thing, and then the next thing you hear these two voices going back and forth. One goes, "He's here." All right, that's interesting. Then the next one goes, they started describing me, dude. They started physically describing who I was. They had the clothes that I was wearing. I had a sidearm. He says he has a gun. I had a sidearm on me, and it started saying, "Yeah, yeah," and they started describing me, and I was like, "Oh shit!" Whatever this is knows I'm here. Okay,
Yeah.
so we go through this little thing. We're there for a couple more minutes. It's getting a little cold. So we decided to take a break. Yeah, we run back to the front of the cemetery, and they're giving an update of what we discovered or what happened. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so as we were doing this, you see these two cars. The only way you get to this thing is like a long, single lane, windy mountain road. I mean, it's just a dirt road. Okay, no, it's just a windy dirt road. Okay, you got these two cars coming through there. I figured, oh, okay, it's the cops. This guy, he's a man of the cloth. He'll talk them out of it. He'll say, oh, yeah, we're just here doing a religious ceremony or something. He'll make up some kind of BS, right? And so I just let him handle it. He's the authority figure in this situation. Okay, all right. So anyway, these two cars, they finally pull up to this little parking area that's in front of the cemetery where we were at. And what it was a load of these like 16, 17-year-old girls, teenage girls. They get out of the car and they're just kind of like, they heard all about the cemetery, the legend behind it, and they wanted to, it was a Friday night, and they want to come up there and see what the hell it was all about. This is like midnight. Okay, all right, here's where it gets interesting. Okay, they're saying, hey, Brad, we're about ready to go back in the cemetery. You want to go again? I said, nah, I think I've had enough for right now. I'm gonna let you guys go. So he had all these girls with him. I think it had been 6, maybe 7 girls. The priest and this other guy, the Bigfoot guy. They all start walking toward the back of the cemetery. Like I said, it's about 50, maybe 75 feet toward the back of the cemetery. And I'm just minding my own business. It was cold. I was having some hot chocolate or coffee or whatever. And then all of a sudden I hear the screaming. I'm going, what the hell? So, I kind of got my hand on my gun. I was like, is this like a bear, or is this like somebody, what the hell's going on here? Anyway, I see these people start running out of the cemetery. The priest is the first person to run out of the cemetery, by the way. He was running faster than anybody.
Oh, my God.
You had the girls, and you had the Bigfoot guy right then, okay? And they're all looking shocked. They're all shook up, all shaken up. And I'm going like, what the hell's going on here? So I just kind of like, I was keeping my mouth shut. I was going to let them speak first. So I didn't want to, just like see where all this was going. And he said, oh my God, did you see that? And the guy said, yeah, I saw it. And then all the girls saying, what was that? And what it turned out, they were toward the back of the cemetery, and there's 12-foot tall shadow-like entity. It was so dark. It was a dark night, but it was darker than dark, and they could see it as it walked past them. You could even hear the crunching of the leaves, the rustling of the leaves from the footsteps as it walked past them. It wasn't running; it was just walking past them, and everybody saw it, and they got the hell out of there. And so all the girls were shaken up, and the priest goes to them. He tries to say, hey, gives them a little blessing, tries to give them. Everything's going to be all right, ladies. Just be slow when you drive off the mountain. Be careful. You're going to make it home safely. Everything's going to be fine. You're going to be good. Okay. So, they're still like a little shook up. So they finally get in their cars. They leave. And then the priest looks at us and says, I don't know about you two, but I'm in fear of my life. I'm getting the hell out of here. And I said, well, I'm not sitting up here by myself, so I'm going to leave with you guys. So we had like a little caravan coming off the mountain.
Oh my God.
And we left. And I'm going to tell you, the thing that got me was when you have, okay, let's say this obelisk is a bunch of BS, okay? But it was so coincidental. I mean, it starts saying specific things about me through an electronic voice on a random, and it'd be like different voices. I don't know if you've ever seen these things. It'd be like you were going through a radio station, and you pick up like a word from each station, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's how this thing worked. And it started describing me, and it had 2 entities on this obelisk that were having a conversation between each other.
See, now that's the tripped out stuff. And like when it comes to like doing that or Ouija boards, the reason why I personally refrain from doing those type of things is I don't know what I'm calling forth. Like, at least when I'm doing, an entity, I at least have an idea of what the hell's going on. Versus that, it's like, all right, like you said, you had a machine for your protection. And that's something that's really big, too. It's like, if you even walking around a graveyard, you should definitely either, do the pay the toll or at least do like a salt bath or cold shower just to make sure you get your energy body good, because the smallest things really can build up and then they can physically become something on your body. And that's just crazy too. Like that's why how tumors and other things occur too, or even a mind disease is because you've been in dis-ease for so long with that part of your life that becomes built up. But yeah, but dude, that's really crazy. I'll have to check it out. That's not too far away. I got people that would want to.
Oh yeah.
I just have to let them know, be protected. But if you want to get really crazy, let's dial some machines, bring that with us too, and get the cameras out because we might see something touch down. That's really cool about the UFO, man. That's crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah, and again, yeah, all this stuff. I mean, I have witnesses to everything that's happened here. I mean, I can, if I need it, if everybody said, "Oh, you're just telling a story," no, I'm not telling a story. I mean, we've got photographic evidence, like the Arecibo project. Joshua would tell you the same identical story, and plus, and I'm gonna tell you, I don't know about Joshua. That guy loves. He and I are like two brothers. We like to mess with each other. We're just like the we're just kind of like busting each other's gonads here every once in a while, just kind of going back and forth. But he said, "Hey, Brad, I'm gonna be over in Sault Ste. Marie at this convention for all these paranormal UFO people." And I said, "Where the hell is Sault Ste. Marie?" And apparently it's like the very top of Michigan. It's like borders Canada. And it's like Okay, and anyway, I think Dave Schrader was going to be there. They're going to do like a talk and whatever for all these people have the interest in the wacky, the wild, and the wacky.
Now, do you have any any places like that you're going to go to this year to kind of just be there, maybe present or just bring as like a vendor your machines or nothing like that? Is that no deal?
If I'm invited, yeah, I'll consider it. I'll be honest. It takes a lot of effort to get out there because you got to make plane reservations. It depends on where it's at. I'd rather drive to something than fly. That's just my personal, I mean, hell.
Definitely. I have it on a this little thing I made with EA Quetting that has a lot of like different like copper and stuff, and we made selenite, and then like I dyed it purple. And when I brought that in the airport, they pulled me to the side. They're like, "Sir, what is this?" And then I'm just like, an art piece. And they're like, okay. Yeah. But they're looking at it like you're absolutely ridiculous. And then in my mind, I'm like, it's actually my cybernetic pyramid of manifestation, but I ain't going to say that to them.
Hell no, they'll ask you for further questioning. Yeah, they give you a cavity search. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, that's a no deal.
Yeah, I think that's not going to happen. But no, but like I said, I was pretty quiet about this stuff. I really didn't go in public. I think Josh in the beginning, when Josh was pretty much he was the guy that was doing a lot of the promotion. He would get on the George Norrie Coast to Coast and talk about the wishing machine, and that's how we were able to start building sales and building a reputation. And it's just it's really escalated over the years, and the kind of things that are happening with this technology. Because to be honest, I think it was. I wouldn't say it was hidden. It just really wasn't marketed very well. I mean, it was like sort of like a word of mouth, or you just might pick up on it, from a legend, the old legend. Hey, I remember the USDA. They used this machine to get rid of insects in a certain crop over in in some field out in the Midwest, and it was a radionics device they used for insect control, or yeah. Okay, you hear all the legends, right?
Yeah.
And then like the Fate magazine, I think they did an article on it. I found out about radionics the very first time I heard about radionics, and this is a little story I like to tell from time to time. Back in 1993, I think it was, Art Bell was the original host of Coast to Coast. Had a guy on the air by the name of Preston Nichols. People who've heard of Montauk or the Philadelphia Experiment or whatever probably heard the name Preston Nichols. Okay, he claims to have been a senior electrical engineer or electronic engineer, I think electrical engineer, over at Montauk, New York, which is like this little tiny abandoned Air Force base on the very eastern tip of Long Island, Montauk.
Hmm.
Okay, and apparently they did like some MK Ultra stuff there, and that kind of thing. And he claims that they were trying to create like a time machine or what have you, and it was sort of like the way he described it, sort of radionic based. And he had a guy that called on the air, and he said, uh, "Have you ever heard of the wishing machine?" And this is 1993, and he said, Preston Nichols goes, "No, what are you talking about?" He says, "Well, there's this book called My Machines You Can Build by Harry S. Stein, and Harry S. Stein turns out to be an actual rocket scientist. He was over in White Plains, Arizona, or New Mexico, I think it was, in the Southwest. They did like a lot of rocket research, and he wrote this book called My Machines You Can Build, and there was a chapter in there about the wishing machine. That's what they called it. And I never heard of such a thing, but he said this sounds like a radionics device. That was the very first time I ever heard the word radionics was out of the mouth of Preston Nichols. And I said, okay, that's interesting. And for whatever reason, I just remembered this, right? And I go to this discount bookstore with my daughter, and at the time, books were really. This is before, you know, some of the major book chains, what have you. It was just like discounted books, and I was looking through there, and I found this book. It was My Machines You Can Build by Harry S. Stein. Matter of fact, I think I got it like in 3 feet from me. I've had this book, okay, and I looked at it. I thought to myself, I'm gonna be honest. I looked at it. I said, "This is a bunch of bullshit." This is,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, and but what happened? I kind of helped it. Yeah, I looked through it. I let one of my friends, who was a technical guy, he looked through it, and he said, this is a bunch of crap, right? Okay. I said, okay, I'll just leave it at that. And Joshua, back about 11, 12 years ago, no, it was 13, it was like 13 years ago, um, had this thing called the Wishing Machine webinar, okay? And I said, okay, it's like the middle of winter. I think it was like the first week of January or whatever, snowing. Yeah, I'm not doing anything. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and drop my $5, $10, whatever it was. I'm gonna watch this thing. And he starts going into his what he thinks radionics is all about. And he got down to the Q&A, and I asked him the very same question about it. He said, "Oh, that book! I have that book. I love that book." And they started mentioning Charles Casamano, aka Uncle Chucky. And he said, "Oh, he has this book called Elementary Psionics. I don't know if you can find it anywhere. It's a very rare book. If you could, I suggest everybody read this book." And I said, "Okay, let me get on the air." After this webinar was over, I immediately got on Google Charles Casamano, Elementary Psionics, and I go directly to Chuck's website, and he has these books in free PDF form. You can download them. They're free, absolutely free. Everything he's ever written is absolutely free for the download. And I downloaded Elementary Psionics. I read that book in about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And within 24 hours after that webinar, I had my very first radionics device up and running.
Wow.
And
Ain't that dude, that's crazy. That's a fall in the breadcrumbs.
yeah, and again, it was because of my interest. Okay, radionics, hear the word from Preston Nichols. I buy the book, the wishingmachineproject.com, or wishing machine, or the My Machines You Can Build. Then 10 years later, this guy, I don't even know Josh. I never knew Josh. I might have heard him once or twice on Coast to Coast, but I never paid any attention. I didn't really know who the guy was. He has this webinar on the wishing machine. I thought, okay, I have nothing better to do in my life at the time. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to spend an hour and a half, watch the webinar, see what it's all about. I thought it'd be entertaining. That changed my life forever.
That's crazy. That is so crazy. How
Yeah.
all those things, like the divine plan, unfolded right in front of you, and now you're able to pass on that knowledge and enjoy your life doing those things, just like and that's kind of what I see in my own life. It's all the other things that have combined from meeting this person, learning this knowledge, to finally kind of see exactly you are where you're supposed to be, and you were just getting prepared for where you're at on that part of the journey.
Right.
Hell yeah, man, dude! I'm pretty excited to hear how you got the famous Dr. Mulder name, man.
Okay, here's how it happened. All right. The very first machine that was ever purchased through Joshua P. Warren after he made an appearance on Coast to Coast was this woman. Again, she was in the upper, what do they call it? Upper Michigan. It's like two halves. You got the lower part of Michigan, you got Detroit and all that stuff. And then the upper
Yeah,
part, it's like basically it's just wilderness. It's just farmland, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the way I understand it. I don't know. Anyway, she was out there, out of the northern part of Michigan. And she said, I'm trying to sell my house. The very first one. I said, okay, all right, let's see where this goes. So yeah, I started going back and forth with her. You know, she's my very first customer. I didn't know what to do. You know, and then she started telling me I had some kind of demonic entity inside this house. I said, oh, okay, like you're seeing. She said, I'm seeing flies in the middle of winter. You know, her husband got scratched. He had like 3 welts on his back. You know, like from claw marks, that kind of a thing.
yeah, yeah.
I'm here like, all right. I said, oh, okay, this is my very first customer, and I'm getting all this, right? Well, at the time, Joshua was out. I think he was either shooting a movie or shooting a TV series or something. I don't know what he was doing at the time. And the only other person I knew was Shelley, and I mentioned earlier, the redhead that went to Transylvania.
Yeah.
Okay, so the only person I knew out of his team was her. So I contacted her and we started talking back and forth. And I said, hey, I know, I don't know if this is really your thing here, but I got this woman who is claiming demonic, some kind of evil, funky thing is going on in her house, and she's trying to sell it. And I said, you think you can offer me some advice on how to deal with this? And she was kind of gave me a few little pointers here and there, and so she, going back and forth with this thing, and I said, I don't know anything about this stuff. And I said, okay, the only reference I know to demonic entities is the movie The Exorcist.
Yeah.
That was from back in the 70s. Okay, that's the only thing I know. That's my reference point. Okay,
Oh
all right. I'm telling you. I mean, that's how little I knew about the subject. And it's still pretty much that way to this day. But anyway, so I said, okay, let's try something here. I don't know. Let's do this. So I took a machine, one of my own personal machines, and I decided, okay, let's project Christ energy into this location. I had the address of the house, had a picture of the house. It was a cute little, cute little bungalow or whatever. I mean, it was really a nice little house. And so had all this, stuff on the copper plate, along with a crucifix representing Christ energy. All right. So I tuned the machine for Christ energy to go on to go to this house to try to expel this, whatever the heck this thing is.
yeah.
Right. So I do all this. I take the picture of the house only. I leave everything else on the copper plate. Take the picture of the house only. Put that on the plastic plate. Let it happen. And I gotta tell you, I felt like a surge of energy when I did all this. I don't know where it was coming from. I don't know if it was psychological or it was coming from the machine. But it's like a surge of some kind of energy. But anyway, a couple days later she said, I don't know what's going on here. It's like a gray cloud has left this place. I don't know. It just seems lighter, and the sun, the clouds are parting and the sun's coming in. It just seems a lot more, a lot more comfortable to be here. And I said, okay, well, she got an offer within they got people started looking in the house, and I think finally got things sold like within a matter of a month, 2 months. And again, this thing's been on the market for half a year. No lookers, no takers, nobody, nothing. I finally get it sold, and I think she moved from upstate Michigan down to Florida, so where it's a little bit warmer. And that's what happened. That's that story there. That's the very first one. Okay, now here is the thing. Well, I'm going back and forth with Shelley on this thing, trying to get advice from her or whatever. And so, she had red hair, and and I said, oh, and her name was Shelley, and I started kidding around with, okay, Scully, thanks, I really need your help on this. Great job, appreciate you. Well, you're welcome, Mulder. that's when it said, okay, all right, Mulder. Okay, that's when the name Mulder came into existence. It came out of the mouth of Shelley. So I said, oh, that sounds kind of cool. I like the show. Mulder.
Oh,
I'll keep with that. Then Josh said, well, you can't go with that name because somebody's probably going to copyright infringement or whatever. And I said, yeah, you got a valid point. He says, add doctor to it. Okay, I said, all right, Dr. Mulder. And that's the rest. That's how it happened. Yeah. Now,
wow.
yeah. Now, at the time, I wasn't a doctor. I did a favor for a guy who was the dean of a college. And anyway, apparently the thing was he had two faculty members. He wanted them to quit. He wanted them to leave. He didn't care if they pulled out of the parking lot, got hit by a cement truck. He just wanted them to go. They were just a pain in his butt, right? He just wanted them to get off the campus. Well, apparently, I did help the guy out, and 2 weeks later, they leave. They resigned for whatever reason. They didn't go into detail. They resigned. They apparently found better jobs, or they had it there. They didn't like him anymore. He liked them. Yeah. They just had it. So they left. And he said, I don't know what you did, but if there's anything I can do for you, please let me know. And I said, hey, you're a dean, right? You're dean of the college. He said, yeah. I said, I want an honorary doctorate. He said, you got it. In 24 hours, I had an honorary doctorate.
Oh my gosh, man! Wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's like the back door to get everything,
Yeah,
Wow.
it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, well, actually, so I have a bachelor's in demonology, but the guy who was the leader of the whole course thing, he was like, you know what? If you just do a couple more things, we'll take in your other credits and we'll give you a doctorate in demonology. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll take that. But I'm like, it's really a bachelor's, but I know deep down, I could tell people, hey, we got doctor in here.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people out there that go by doctor, and they have honorary doctorates. I mean, sir, Alex, my brother, he's a professor at a local college or a major college in the southeast. I like to kid around with him, saying, "Hey, I have more. My degree is higher than yours." And hey, you call me doctor. I don't know about you, buddy.
You better get on a monocule there too, bud. A little top hat. That's doctor.
That's how they came about. And go ahead.
Awesome. Oh, I was just gonna say too, that's one hell of a story. And I didn't know if you had anything that you've been working on kind of in the background, or if you've just been kind of keeping works going on. Do you have any plans like for a new invention, I guess you could say?
Yes. I'm working in conjunction with Joshua P. Warren on a couple of things. I can't discuss it right now,
Okay.
but it's going to be coming out probably within a month, maybe 2 months from now. I'm going to be honest with you, you may get a little bit of a sticker shock with this, ladies and gentlemen. So if you think, oh, we're coming out with a inexpensive machine, it's not inexpensive, but it's the workmanship, the amount of work that goes into this thing to construct it. I'm probably going to spend at least 15 to 20 hours per machine minimum. I'm just thinking in my head, going step by step. Who knows how it's going to be in real life? But yeah, this thing is like, this is the ultimate of all machines, and I can't really go into any kind of detail of what it is. But when that day happens, I'll be more than happy to come back on the show and talk about it. But
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'm just going to say you're going to have a little bit of sticker shock with this one, but it's the reason for it. So.
Hey, man, every single thing that you have created, whether it's on your website, which I'm going to link down below, and I know you had an announcement with that you're going to let the people know, and I'll also link Joshua P. Warren's as well as Lawless Metaphysics, because it's not just one type of machine. You have multiple different uses, and in conjunction with or without magic, there's limitlessness. And I also I did want to ask if it came to better wellness for an individual, whether they had anxiety or sleep or whatever, would you find it to be more beneficial to work with Raphael, let's say, for example, and then him working with you,
Sure.
or you by yourself? But then also with that question, is there a way to, because I've seen on the input, if there's a spirit and I'm on the output, there's an insane amount of energy. So is there a certain machine that would make it so it could be like on 24/7? Or what would you do for your
Um,
approach?
okay, I have made Raphael machines for special requests. Okay, I don't. Again, there's something I will not talk about with anybody, and it's not like I'm trying to be rude.
Yeah,
It's just the reality of the situation.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, but yeah, that kind of thing. Yes, you could do it. I would suggest the chakra machine is a good one. You might want to investigate that. JS has discussed that
Yep.
a lot, and and also Uncle Chucky has too. And I think we even did a show. I did a show on the Dr. Liz and Mulder show about the chakra machine. I think I went into it for about 15 minutes or so. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and then Liz was more she's better, not she has a better knowledge base than I do when it comes to chakras, that kind of thing. I kind of let her have the floor to explain how she used it, because without going into too much detail, it was used to help with people who did not have mental well-being. Okay, and it was a group of individuals. I can't. You just watch the show and let her explain it. But within a matter of I think it was about 30 days, her emergency calls from these individuals, like say, hey, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. I'm about ready to put a gun in my mouth, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
suicidal, that kind of stuff. These calls dropped almost 35% in a matter of about 1 month's time from using that machine.
Wow. Yeah, I know that there is so much power behind it, and that's just when I'm trying to be conscious with it, to not have too much overdrive energy go in. But that's why there's the vampire box versus the Genesis box.
Mm-hmm.
Different things have different levels of power to them. And yeah, could you tell them the audience just about what you're going to do with your website with the code Alchemy?
Okay, sure. And again, this is for my personal website, because I have other people, but this is where I have my best machines. The very best of what I do is on my personal website, and it's called radionicpower.com. Radionicpower.com, and again, he's going to include a link. If you um, buy, all you got to do is contact me. I'm gonna have my email address with the description on this video. Contact me directly and tell me, in the promo code again is alchemy or alchemist. Alchemist. If you say alchemy or alchemist, be close enough. I'll take it. Okay. All right. All right. And so, yeah, contact me. Tell me, that you heard about this on the show. If you're a first-time buyer of these machines, I'm going to give you a 25% discount of anything that's on my personal website, radionicpower.com. All right. If you already have a machine, I don't care if you bought it from JS, if you bought it from Joshua, or if you bought it from me, if you already have a machine, you're already a repeat customer, I'm going to give you an additional 10%, and I'm going to make it 35% off for repeat customers. But if this is your first time buying a machine and you want to buy a couple of machines, I'll work with you. I'll make this happen for you, okay? Because I appreciate the people that watch this show, that subscribe to this show, and I want to do something. I just want to do a solid for them.
And I appreciate that so much. And thank you so much, Dr. Mulder, for your time here. And I definitely will love to have you back on.
Oh, it'll be my pleasure.
Just keep hearing all the stories, and I can give you updates about more of that has gone on, because I have some more ideas now to test out, and I want to do a little test and see what I can find at the Vatican. So,
Oh,
yeah, but that's the thing. I've had that once the HEK is all set up, then I can go in, and then if they have any of their own squad, I'll be able to get in and out real quick, you know. Dun,
right.
dun, 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 dun.
Oh man. Well, there are a lot of secrets there. I'm sure. I'm not going to go into that right now. That's a can of